Welcome to Business Statistics. Today's lecture is about describing the data. And we will learn how to make frequency tables, what is frequency distribution, and how we can make frequency distribution tables. And meanwhile, we will discuss about graphical presentation of the data. Recall your previous lecture. In chapter 1, we have discussed about two types of statistics. One was descriptive and one is inferential. The frequency and description of data is actually about descriptive statistics, describing the data through frequency tables, frequency distribution, and graphical presentation. So today we are gonna learn about how to organize qualitative data into frequency table, how to present a frequency table as a bar chart or a pie chart, how to organize quantitative data into frequency distribution, and we will also learn about frequency distribution for quantitative data using histogram, frequency polygon, and cumulative frequency polygon. So frequency distribution. आप इस टेबल को देखेंगे, लेफ्ट साइड पर आप देख रहे हैं कि कुछ ग्रुप्स बने हुए हैं. Selling price of something, we can assume that this is a selling price of cars. So one group is of 15,000 to 18,000 and it has frequency of 8. The other one is 18,000 to 21,000 and frequency is 23, 21,000 to 24 and frequency is 17. These groups shows that cars, those were sold on price between 15,000 to 18,000. The number of cars sold were 8. This is the frequency. Similarly, number of cars sold between the price of 18,000 to 21,000 were 23 and so on. जब हम अपने डाटा को किसी हमारे पास when we have a large quantity of data, for example, you can see the total frequency is 80. We have data about selling price of 80 cars, but we cannot find some useful information from the raw data. To get some useful information from this raw data, we need to convert this data into some meaningful form. There are some ways. One of the ways is frequency distribution. Okay, you can see we have divided that data into some groups. These groups are called classes, and then we count the number of observations in each group. And now we can easily understand that what was the lowest price or lowest price range, or where the maximum, where the cars were, like number of cars, those or the highest frequency of cars, those were sold at what price. We can understand from that. हम यहाँ से ये भी इंफॉर्मेशन फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं कि इफ वी आर इंटरेस्टेड कि हमें ये देखना है कि ज़्यादा किस प्राइस रेंज में कार्स सेल हुई हैं, तो वी कैन इजीली एस्टिमेट दैट you can see it from 18,000 to 21,000. 23 cars were sold. If we accumulate this 23, 17 and 18, you can almost 20, 30, 40 more than 50%, almost 60%, uh, 40, 50, yeah, more than 60% of the cars were sold between the price of 18,000 to 20,000, 27,000, sorry. तो इस तरह से हम इससे कई इंफॉर्मेशन फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं. आप देखेंगे वी कैन से दैट द cars who have higher price have a very less frequency of selling. For example, 30,000, 33,000 is only 4, and 33 to 36 only 2. तो ये हम इससे डिफरेंट मीनिंग्स जो है वो फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं. So to describe your data, frequency distribution is very useful tool. Now the question is this: how we made this frequency distribution? Number one, we make some groups. That groups are called classes, and then we count number of observations in each class. And you will get to know about this technique later. We will discuss the whole procedure, how to do this frequency distribution, how to construct the table of frequency distribution. One thing you need to understand that each class or group in this frequency distribution should be mutually exclusive. In previous lecture, I also told you about mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive means each class is distinguishable to other class. Like if you see in this table, the first class starting from 15,000 and ending at 18,000. So the cars who have a price up to 18,000 will be considered in first class. The second class is from 18,000. So the car who has a price of 18,000.01 or 18,000.5 or something more than 18,000 will be counted in second class. And these class are mutually exclusive means when one observation is counted in one class or group, it cannot be counted in any other group. This is mutually exclusive. So why mutually exclusive is important? Because you should not count one observation twice. Frequency table. Grouping of qualitative data into mutually exclusive classes showing the number of observation in each class. एक तो हमारे पास क्वांटिटेटिव डेटा होता है, एक हमारे पास क्वालिटेटिव डेटा होता है. प्रीवियस लेक्चर वी हैव डिस्कस्ड, प्रीवियस chapter number 1 we have discussed about qualitative data and quantitative data. When you have data, qualitative data, you can only construct a frequency table, but that frequency table is different from frequency distribution. In frequency table, you just made some categories and count number of observation in each category. For example, there are two categories on the basis of car type, two car types, domestic and foreign, and you have counted number of cars in each category, like how many domestic cars are there and how many foreign cars. For example, you are going to do a survey, like what car types are in your town, and you have two main categories, domestic and foreign. You counted all the cars in your town, and you found that 50 cars are domestic and 30 cars are foreign. That's all. You cannot do anything else with this type of data. Okay, another thing is relative class frequencies. Before going into relative distribution, first we need to understand that what is frequency distribution, how we made a frequency distribution table. Here you can see there is a data of prices of vehicles sold last month. You can see there are almost 80 observations. To construct a frequency distribution, first we need to find out highest value and lowest value. Here you can see that lowest value is 15,546 and highest value is 35,925. Then what we have to do? Number one, decide on number of classes. As I told you earlier that you have to construct classes or groups. For easiness, you can understand that these are groups. So number one, how many groups we should make? You can make number of groups. Uh, this is your choice, but when we are in statistics, we have to do it in a manner, because if we if we made some uh, uh, unreasonable number of groups, then we won't be able to uh, count all our observation in each group. So the best way is to find out number of observation using K rule. K rule is 2 raised to power K is greater than N. N is number of observation. In our case, N is 80. Here you can see that in this table there are 80 observations. So N is 80. 2 to raise power k. K is any number. Kth number, any number. So 2 to raise power 2, 4. 2 to raise power 2, 16, and so on. If you go on, 2 to raise power 6 is equal to 64. When 2 to raise power 6 is equal to 64, 64 is still less than 80. Then 2 to raise power 7. 7 is 128. So 2 to raise power 7 is equal to 128, and 128 is greater than n. Let me take a whiteboard so that I can show you clearly. For example, 2 to raise power k should be greater than n. So if we take 2 to raise power 6, it should be greater than 80. In our case, the number of observations are 80. So this is 64, which is greater than 80. No, it's not greater than 80. So we need to move on. We need to move on. So 2 raised to power 7, that is greater than or equal to 80. 128, which is greater than 80. So yes, this is our number. 7. 7 was K. So this 7 is our number of classes. So we will take this one. Okay. 7 is our number of classes. तो हमने ग्रुप डिसाइड कर लिए. We have to uh, uh, divide this data into 7 groups. Number 2. Number 2 is determine the class interval or width. आपने देखा कि पिछली एग्जांपल के अंदर हमने इंटरवल क्या होता है, दैट इज द highest limit of the class and lowest limit of the class, difference between highest limit and lower limit of the class of one class. जैसे हमने 15 to 18 था, तो जो हमारा क्लास इंटरवल था वो 3 था. तो now we have to decide how much cross interval we have to take over here. For this we also have some formula. I represents class of interval should be greater than or equal to. In previous case, it was not equal to. It was always greater than when we are going to decide number of classes. So I is greater than or equal to higher limit minus lower, sorry, here higher value minus lower value divided by k. Okay, H is highest observation and L is lowest observation. When we'll put highest observation and lowest observation in our data, previously we have found highest value and lowest value in our data. A higher one is 35,925 and lower one is 15,546. So here we are putting these values into our data. 35,925 minus 15,546 divided by k. K we already found k in previous example, that is number of classes. So the answer is 2,911. Class interval should be 2,911, should not less than this, but may be greater than this. So we will round up this value 29,011. We will round up this value into 3,000. So our class interval for our example would be 3,000. Now we are going to construct a frequency table. First we are going to construct uh, class limits and groups of classes. So here you can see, number 3 is set the individual class limit. ये तो डिसाइड हो जाएगा हमारे पास क्लास लिमिट इंडिविजुअल कितनी होगी. यस, हमारे पास क्लास लिमिट कैसे इंडिविजुअल सेट होगी, हमारे जो हमने अभी फाइंड आउट किया है क्लास इंटरवल से. क्लास इंटरवल बताएगा व्हाट वुड बी द लिमिट ऑफ आवर क्लास. तो हमारी क्लास लिमिट जो है वो 3000 तक होगी. वी विल नॉट गो बियॉन्ड दिस. ओके, जैसे यहाँ पर आप देख रहे हैं कि 15,000 to 18,000, 18,000, 20,000, ये देखें कितनी नंबर ऑफ क्लासेस बन रही है. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, ये हमारे पास 7 क्लासेस बन रही हैं. जब हम वही क्लास इंटरवल लेंगे जो हमने यहाँ पे फाइंड आउट किया तो हमारी इतनी ही क्लासेस बनेंगी. तो अब क्वेश्चन इज दिस कि वेयर डू वी स्टार्ट आवर क्लासेस, व्हाट वुड बी द लिमिट ऑफ फर्स्ट क्लास. पहली क्लास हमारी कहाँ से स्टार्ट होनी चाहिए. आप देख रहे हैं कि यहाँ हियर द फर्स्ट क्लास इज started from 15,000. How do we found that first class is started from 15,000? So for this again we need to refer to our data, and you can see here is the lowest value 15,546. So you can start your first class from this lowest value or below this. You cannot go beyond this value. Like you cannot start your first class from 16,000 or 15,547. If you will do this, you have to miss this observation. You cannot count this observation into first class. तो राउंड करने के लिए हम क्या करते हैं, हम इसको 15,000 से स्टार्ट कर लेते हैं. हमने यहाँ पे इसको 15,000 से स्टार्ट कर लिया. तो 15,000 से 3 का गैप अगर आप रखें तो दैट वुड बी 18,000. एंड नेक्स्ट वन वुड बी 18,000 टू 21,000. तो आप टोटल देखें तो दैट वुड बी दोज वुड बी 7 ग्रुप्स एंड द क्लास इंटरवल इज 3,000. नाउ अब जब आप ये कर लेते हैं तो हमारे पास फोर्थ स्टेप है. ये तो हमारे पास बहुत छोटा सा डाटा है. आपके पास डेटा जो है वो दैट वुड बी थाउजेंड्स ऑफ वैल्यूज और हंड्रेड्स ऑफ वैल्यूज. तो यहाँ पर हम क्या करते हैं, हम यहाँ पे टैली करते हैं. जैसे हमने अपनी क्लासेस बना ली, आफ्टर कंस्ट्रक्टिंग दीज क्लासेस वी विल टैली ईच ऑब्जर्वेशन इनटू ईच क्लास. तो हम स्टार्ट करेंगे, इसको हम ऑर्डर में ले आएंगे फ्रॉम लोएस्ट टू हाईएस्ट, और हम फिर इसको स्टार्ट कर देंगे काउंट करना. अब आप अपने टेबल में देखेंगे कि वैल्यूज दोज आर स्टार्टिंग और वैल्यूज दोज यू कैन काउंट इन 15,000 to 18,000 क्लास। अब आप सबसे लोएस्ट वैल्यूज देखेंगे, सबसे लोएस्ट वैल्यू 15,546 थी, तो वो हमारी फर्स्ट क्लास में आती है, तो आप एक लाइन लगा देंगे। नेक्स्ट वैल्यू पे जाएंगे, फॉर एग्जांपल हमारे पास जो नेक्स्ट वैल्यू है दैट इज kind of I need to find out that value here. 14,000 sorry, one is 17,399, one is 17,968, similarly one is 17,266. All these values can be count in first class. तो इसी तरह फोर लाइन हमने फोर वैल्यूज काउंट कर ली, जब फिफ्थ वैल्यू आएगी तो हम एक डायगोनल लाइन यहाँ पे क्रिएट कर देंगे, तो ये हमारा 5 काउंट हो जाएगा, और हमें वी कैन इजीली अंडरस्टैंड दैट वी हैव ऑलरेडी काउंटेड 5 वैल्यूज, देन 6, 7, 8 और इसी तरह आप जाते हैं। सिमिलरली वी विल काउंट ईच ऑल द वैल्यूज इन ईच क्लास, then in number 5 step we will count the number of items in each class. We have counted that in first class there are 8 items, in second class there are 23 items, in third class there are 17, then 18, 8, 4 and 2, in total 80. So this total will tell us that we have counted all the values in our in this frequency table. So here is frequency table. We have constructed our frequency table using this scientific method and by following 5 simple steps. Now the question, another important thing is relative frequency. With this frequency table, we can also find out a relative frequency. Relative frequency actually is the frequency of each class is divided by total number of total frequency. For example, if we want to find out relative frequency of first class, actually what relative frequency tell us? Relative frequency tell us the proportion of each group or class into the total distribution. So 8 divided by 80 would be 10%, 0.10. 23 divided by 80 would be 0.2875, or in other words it would be 28.75%, and so on for each class. You can find relative frequency. Relative frequency will tell us proportion of each class in total distribution or total data. हमने देखा कि 80 हमारे पास नंबर ऑफ कार्स थी, तो उसमें हम ये देख सकते हैं कि आप easily from this relative frequency you can say that 10% of the cars were sold on the price between 15,000 to 18,000, or in other words you can say 10% of total cars were sold at the price below 18,000. Similarly, you can say that 28.75% of the cars were sold below 21,000 and above 18,000. Similarly, you can say 21.25% of the cars were sold below 24,000 and more than 21,000. This way, you can find out the proportion of each group into the total distribution or total data. Now we move to graphical presentation of frequency distribution. For graphical presentation of frequency distribution, there are actually 3 types of charts: histogram, frequency polygon, and cumulative frequency distribution. The above 2 bar and pie charts, these are not dependent on frequency distribution, but we will discuss these are also important charts. Bar chart. हॉरिजॉन्टल एक्सेस पे आप फ्रीक्वेंसीज classes, and vertical axis पर आप frequencies. For example, there are 2 type of classes. One is foreign and domestic, as we discussed in earlier example. Number of frequencies in each class is 30, and in other class domestic is 50. So you can make a bar chart of this. Specifically, bar chart is used to present qualitative type of uh, classes or qualitative type of data. जब क्वालिटेटिव डाटा की जब फ्रीक्वेंसी टेबल आपने बनाया या उसकी फ्रीक्वेंसीज आपने काउंट की हैं, यू कैन मेक दिस बार चार्ट, वेरी सिंपल चार्ट. अगर आप इसको एक्सेल में बनाना चाहें तो इंसर्ट चार्ट में जाएं, तो वहां पर आप देखेंगे कि आपके पास ये है ऑप्शन ऑफ बार चार्ट ओवर देयर, यू कैन इजीली ड्रॉ a bar chart there. Then pie chart. When you want to show the percentage or proportionate of each class or group in your data, pie chart is very useful. For example, here in this example, you can see uh, there are 4 categories: prices, payment to education, bonus commission and operation expenses. ये एक लॉटरी एक्सपेंस के का एक डेटा है. So you can see you have percentage for each class, and you can show this percentage on each on percentage on this pie chart, and we can easily understand by the portion each class have. Like we know the money spent on prizes was the highest, then education is second, then bonuses and commission is third one, and operating is fourth one, and expenses are zero, very less. Sorry, operating expenses are 95% and have very less uh, portion in this pie. So this is pie chart when we want to present the proportion of classes, or we want to present a comparison of classes. Pie chart is very useful in this. Here is an example how we can measure, or how we can create a pie chart in Excel. Very easy. Here on the left side you have a table. You can draw a table like this and just select the two axes, and then go to insert tool and select pie chart and click on the pie chart. You will get a pie chart there. Another important is histogram. This is usually made on the basis of quantitative data, and you can see classes are adjacent to each other. So when we have qualitative classes are not adjacent to each other. Therefore, usually histograms are based on the quantitative type of data. Here you classes are on the horizontal axis, vertical axis, horizontal axis, and frequencies are on vertical axis. And the height of the graph uh, shows the uh, uh, frequency in each class. Let me show you this uh, by doing by myself on a whiteboard. Let me take whiteboard over here. In this example, for this example, we have here you will show your classes. Sorry for my writing. I cannot write better than this. And here are frequency. अच्छा, हमारे पास फ्रीक्वेंसी थी मैक्सिमम 23 तक है, तो हम यूं करते हैं कि हम इसको 5 पर कर लेते हैं. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, ये हमने यहाँ पे फ्रीक्वेंसीज अपनी ड्रॉ कर ली। हमारी क्लासेस जो थी ये यहाँ पे मैं एक छोटा सा कट डालता हूँ, इसका मतलब है कि ये पीछे कंटिन्यू है ग्राफ, क्योंकि हम 1 से स्टार्ट नहीं कर रहे, 0 से स्टार्ट नहीं कर रहे, हमारी क्लासेस 15 से स्टार्ट हो रही हैं। तो हम यहाँ पे ये क्लास अपनी पहली 15, देन 18, देन 21, 24, 27, 30, 33 and 36. Now we need to count class frequencies in each class. For this class, the frequency was 8. So here is 10, 8 would be over here. So we will do it like this. Okay, the next one, for next class, 18 to 21 frequency is 23. So 23 would be around here. The next class is 21 to 24. So 21 to 24 has a frequency of 17, 15, 16, 17 around here. So we will make it like this. Okay. Then, oh, sorry, this one is, I made it wrong. This one is over here. Sorry, this one is over here. So this one. For next class, 24 to 27 has a frequency of 18. So 18 is, this is 20, 18 would be around here. So we will make a line over here. Then the next class is 27, 30 has an only 8 observations, so it would be around here. And the second last one has 4 observation, would be around here. And the last one has only 2, and it would be around here. So here, this is the way to construct a histogram, and that's it. This is the easiest way to make this. Okay, now we move on to next topic. Histogram in Excel is also the same. You need to uh, select your data and then go to insert and check over there. There is an option for histogram. Click on that and boom, you will have that graph. Next one is frequency polygon. Frequency polygon is actually the line chart, and it connects the midpoint, because here we have number of frequencies in each class, and we have classes over there, and each class has two limits, higher limit and lower limit. So how we will create this higher limit and lower limit into one point, because these are 2 points, and if we want to create a line chart, we need to find out some other way. For this, we need to find out midpoints. What are midpoints? Midpoints are the midpoints of any class. We will add lower limit and upper limit, and then we will divide it into divide by 2. So 15 plus 18 divided by 2 would be 16.5. 16.5 is our midpoint, and so on. We will find out these midpoints, and frequency would be the same for each midpoint, because each midpoint represents the corresponding class. Now what we will do, on the chart we just have to consider these points, midpoints. Okay, the first midpoint is 16.5, so we will start from here. 16.5, for 16.5 frequency is 8, so 16.5 and 8, we will spot a dot over here, make a dot over here. Then the second one is midpoint is 19.5. For 19.5 frequency is 23, so 23 would be above than this 20, and we will make a point over here right above this midpoint 19.5, and similarly we will make all these points, and then we will connect all these points with the line, and here we have frequency polygon. So frequency polygon is a way to show your data um, in trend. If you want to see a trend in your data, then this line chart is very useful. Line charts usually represent a trend in your data, like where you have upward trend, where you have downward trend, and where is the peak of your data, what is the highest point, what is the lower point, where your data was where the data was increasing, has increasing trend, and where it got some decreasing trend, then where it got increasing trend. So from this data, from this line, you can easily understand uh, from uh, from first classes, from 16.5, 16 and 19.5, you can see there is an upward trend. Then the trend has some downward, became downward, and then from 22.5 to 25.5 you have little bit increasing trend, and after that, for all the other classes it has decreasing trend. It is gradually decreasing. So from this cumulative frequency polygon, we have got another idea, that is cumulative frequency distribution. Cumulative frequency distribution is another way to represent your frequency distribution. Here we accumulate previous frequencies. Like for first class, we cannot find out cumulative frequency, because cumulative frequency before this class there is no class. So cumulative frequency would be equal to the actual frequency of the class. For second class, we will accumulate. Cumulative means added up. जब हम किसी चीज को जमा कर लेते हैं तो पिछली सारी जमा होती जाएंगी, दैट इज कॉल्ड कम्युलेटिव फ्रीक्वेंसी. तो अगर आप ये देखें फ्रीक्वेंसी जो सेकंड क्लास हमारी, हियर द फ्रीक्वेंसी इज 23, सो 23 प्लस 8 पिछली भी इसमें ऐड हो जाएगी, सो अप टू सेकंड क्लास द कम्युलेटिव फ्रीक्वेंसी इज 31. देन फॉर थर्ड क्लास 17 प्लस 23 प्लस 28. ये आप राइट साइड पे देख सकते हैं, हाउ डू वी फाउंड दैट. हर क्लास में जब जाएंगे उसकी फ्रीक्वेंसी एंड ऑल प्रीवियस फ्रीक्वेंसीज वी विल ऐड अप देम, and here we will find out cumulative frequency, and the cumulative frequency of last class would be equal to the total frequency of that distribution. You can see cumulative frequency of last class is 80 and the total frequency is also 80, so it shows that our calculation is quite good. Next, what is the benefit for this class? इसका बेनिफिट ये है कि आप ये इससे कुछ और यूजफुल और डिफरेंट इंफॉर्मेशन फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, आप देखें कि फर्स्ट 3 जो क्लासेस हैं वो 48 उनकी क्यूमुलेटिव फ्रीक्वेंसी है और टोटल हैं 80, तो आप ये मोर देन 50% बनता है, अराउंड 60% बनता है. तो आप कह सकते हैं कि जो कार्स हैं जो 24,000 से लेस पर सेल हुई हैं, वो टोटल सोल्ड कार का 60% है. तो इस तरह से आप डिफरेंट इंफॉर्मेशन हम यहाँ से फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं. या आप ये भी कह सकते हैं कि आप थोड़ा आगे चले जाएं 27,000 तक, तो यहाँ पे टोटल कास्ट 66 है, और आप देखेंगे 66 इसका कितना परसेंट बनता है 80 का, मोर देन 75% बनता है, 80% बनता है तकरीबन ये। तो 80% कार्स जो हैं दोज वर सोल्ड at a price of 27,000 or less than 27,000. So we can, okay, another type of graph is here, that is cumulative frequency distribution. Cumulative frequency distribution is depends on this cumulative frequency table. So if we have cumulative frequency distribution of a data, we can easily make this cumulative frequency polygon. This is called cumulative frequency, sorry, this is called cumulative frequency polygon. Here what we have to do, again हमने वही हमने क्या करना है, यहाँ पे हमने फ्रीक्वेंसीज नहीं लेनी, हमने यहाँ पर कम्युलेटिव फ्रीक्वेंसी लेनी है, दैट इज रेलेवेंट टू ईच क्लास। तो आप हर क्लास की जो कम्युलेटिव फ्रीक्वेंसी है आप उसके ऊपर एक डॉट लगाते जाएंगे, और फिर आप देखेंगे कि ये वैसे हमेशा इंक्रीजिंग ट्रेंड में होगा। तो राइट साइड ऑफ दिस ग्राफ यू कैन सी दैट there is a percentage of vehicles has been found, like you can see 25%। वो देखें, जैसे मैंने आपको एक एग्जांपल दी थी कि जहाँ पे आपकी थर्ड है, जहाँ पर थर्ड आपकी क्लास है जहाँ पे कम्युलेटिव फ्रीक्वेंसी 48 हो रही है, हमने देखा कि टोटल 80 थे, तो हमने 40 के ऊपर लाइन लगा के हम आराम से यहाँ से फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं कि 50% ऑफ द व्हीकल वर सोल्ड एट अ प्राइस ऑफ 24,000 और लेस देन 24,000। इसी तरह 75%, वो ऊपर हमारे पास 100% हो गए। तो हम यहाँ से डिफरेंट परसेंटेजेस जो हैं वो फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं यूजिंग दिस cumulative frequency polygon, that is called cumulative frequency polygon. So another important point over here, that graph can be misleading. Yes, graph can be misleading. There is an example for that, because there is no hard and fast rule to make a graph. uh, there are many ways to make a graph, and you can choose either way to construct a graph. So here you can see this is a cost per year. In 2000 the cost was around 100, and in 2005 the cost is around 2000. अब यहाँ पे दो ग्राफिक यूज किए हुए हैं। अब अगर आप इन दोनों की ग्राफिक की अगर आप साइज देखें तो जो 2005 में दिखाया है वो बहुत ज्यादा बड़ा है, और 2000 में जो दिखाया है ग्राफिक वो बहुत छोटा है। तो इस तरह से हमने एक मिसयूज करते हुए इस ग्राफिक का साइज बहुत ज्यादा बड़ा करके दिखाते हुए हमें यूं लगा कि जैसे 2005 के अंदर जो है वो कॉस्ट बहुत बढ़ गई है, बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ गई है, जबकि उसमें डबल का फर्क तो है, ऑल्दो डबल का फर्क है, लेकिन जो इसको प्रेजेंट किया जिस तरीके से वो हमें थोड़ा सा एक ज्यादा कम्युलेटिव इफेक्ट दे रहा है, ज्यादा एग्जेजरेट कर रहा है इसको, तो ज्यादा एग्जेजरेटिंग इफेक्ट हमें दे रहा है। अनदर एग्जांपल ऑफ दिस, देयर आर 3 ग्राफ्स. Unemployment rate and crime rate has been the relationship between unemployment rate and crime rate has been shown in these graphs. Same data, but has been presented into 3 graphs. First graph, अगर ग्राफ A को आप देखें, चेंज क्या किया है हमने, चेंज ये किया है कि इसका जो नीचे एक्सेस है, एक्स एक्सेस, आप उसको देखें कि उसके ऊपर पहले वैल्यूज क्लोज थी 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 तक, ये हमने ज्यादा वैल्यूज ली हुई थी यहाँ पर। और जब हमने यहाँ पर ग्राफ दिखाया तो ये ग्राफ के अंदर एक अपवर्ड ट्रेंड नजर आ रहा है, और इसके अंदर एक डायरेक्ट रिलेशनशिप है दोनों के अंदर। ये बता रहा है कि अगर अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट बढ़ती है तो क्राइम रेट भी इंक्रीज होता है। अब आप दूसरे ग्राफ के अंदर आ जाएं, जो ग्राफ बी है, इसके अंदर सिर्फ क्या किया, हमने स्केल को जरा डिफरेंट तरीके से इस्तेमाल किया है। हमने उसको जो ग्राफ है उसको और जरा ज्यादा जो है, आप यूं समझ सकते हैं कि हमने जो स्टार्ट वाले जो वैल्यूज हैं उनको निकाल के सिर्फ एंड पे जहां डाटा था, जब हमने उसको फोकस करके दिखाया, बड़ा करके दिखाया, उसको स्प्रेड करके दिखाया, तो आप जरा देख रहे हैं कि इसके अंदर जो है वो जो ग्राफ ए में बड़ा डायरेक्ट और बड़ा एक अपवर्ड ट्रेंड, उसमें एक एग्जैक्टली डायरेक्ट रिलेशनशिप नजर आ रहा था, वो अब उतना नहीं है, वो जो लाइन है वो थोड़ी सी अपवर्ड की बजाय, स्ट्रेट होने की बजाय वो थोड़ी नीचे आ गई है वो लाइन। इस तरह ग्राफ सी में देखें तो हमने उसको और ज्यादा उसको क्लोज किया है और वैल्यूज को और ज्यादा स्प्रेड किया है, तो फिर हमारे पास वो फिर दोबारा से जो हमारी लाइन है, जो रिलेशनशिप की लाइन है, वो थोड़ी हमें डायरेक्ट रिलेशनशिप और नजर आ रहा है उसके अंदर। तो इस तरह से हम ग्राफ्स को डिफरेंट वे में प्रेजेंट करते हुए हम मिसलीड भी कर सकते हैं जो हमारा ग्राफ यूज कर रहा है। दिखाने वाले के लिए हम थोड़ा सा ग्राफ्स को जो है वो उससे जो इंफॉर्मेशन है वो थोड़ी सी हम उसको मोल्ड कर सकते हैं। तो दीज आर सम यू नो नेगेटिव नेगेटिव थिंग्स अबाउट ग्राफ्स। तो मैं सिर्फ इतना ही कहूँगा इसके अंदर कि एथिक्स शुड बी प्रिवेल्ड, and when we are making graphs we should you know we should be use some ethical ways uh, while doing this. That's the end of chapter 2, and that's the end of our lecture. So take care, we will meet again in next lecture.